So I've been asked a lot of times about my design process. I mean, how do I land upon the design language of the brand? How do I keep consistency within the designs? And if I use a mood board, I mean, I don't. Let's get through the design process. So I use a mixture of Illustrator and Procreate. I mean, initially I used to use just Procreate, but then there are some features in Illustrator that I use now. So I use a mixture of both. You can consider using Illustrator, Vectornator, Sketch, or Corel Draw. Basically any application that you're comfortable in, but like which lets you export transparent PNGs. To begin with, I open up a 4096 by 5120 document so that it's like high quality, and like printing it on a t-shirt won't end up in like the pixelation of the design or like breaking of the design or anything like that. I begin by adding the major element onto the artboard around which like other elements can be introduced, and something that you can plan your entire design around, and which also goes with the brand language and the design language basically that you're going for. After I've introduced the first element, that's my main element, I begin to introduce other complementary elements into the design. Now this is something important because when you're introducing elements into your design, you're also thinking about the design language and if it's in line with the brand. Because it's not as strict as you think, but it's always in the back of my head. I have the liberty to be as creative as I want, but then this keeps me on track. Like it helps me from getting distracted. Once I'm done introducing all the elements onto the artboard, I start working on the composition. And no, I don't have like a set process while I'm making the composition. It's quite intuitive, and I think that's how it should be, because otherwise it breaks the creative process. It doesn't let the juices flow as they should. When everything's on the artboard, I start with the composition after that. I mean, it's a creative process. I can't ever think of having a set workflow when it comes to composition or even the elements I pick for the design. It looks good to you in the moment, then you take it, you work on different placements, you fine-tune the elements, like you change the colors, sizes, positions, and see what works best for you. Like if you're designing a t-shirt, I just put a t-shirt on the artboard and then use my elements and think of the composition while placing them on the t-shirt. After you're like convinced with the composition and you're happy with it, I start playing around with the size of the composition, because different sized t-shirts require different sized prints. So when the t-shirt is placed on the artboard, I begin playing with the size of the composition that I've made. This is a very tiny detail and some would say it isn't even required, but I like to mock it up and see how the size of the design looks on different size t-shirt. Like a 14-inch by 18-inch design would look way different on a extra small than it would look on a double XL. And not like you can print them all on a t-shirt and check again and again, but like mocking it up gives you a rough idea of how the composition and the t-shirt would look together. So once you're done with all of that and you're set on the design, you're set on the composition, now's the time to get your t-shirts printed. And here's where it gets a little tricky. So if you're going to print your t-shirts yourself, that's fine. But if you're somebody who's just starting out, hear me out, I have an anecdote for you. So when I was starting out, I outsourced the job of printing to somebody who lived in Mumbai. And on every email, every phone call, every WhatsApp conversation, I precisely and continuously mentioned that I needed a 16-inch by 18-inch print. And on every step along the way, he agreed and he assured me that he gets the job. Cut to 2 weeks later, I get the parcel and they're 13-inch by 16-inch prints. I mean, that's not what we agreed, and I was so fucking disappointed because this was my first batch of t-shirts that I got printed and I was gonna launch the website in 2 days. So if you're somebody who's just starting out, consider looking for a printer that's in your city. That way you get to visit his facility like physically, go see how he prints the t-shirts. You can even ask samples off of him. You can see the colors, you can see the print quality, you can see the sizing of how the composition looks on the t-shirt. And you can be like, I mean, nobody's gonna care about your business more than you. I mean, he might be terrific at his job, but he can also fuck it up because He's not gonna care about it as much as you do. So anyways, that's it from my side, guys. If you found any value in this video, please like it. And if I've missed out on something, mostly I've covered everything, but if I've missed out on something and if there's something you'd like to add, please drop it down in the comments. And if you'd like to see me make videos of such other solutions, consider subscribing to the channel. And until then, shop solution.